Welcome to the land of wood and water, the place the Taíno people once called Zika, and the English later named Jamaica. The Taíno were the island's first people. They farmed cassava, fished the warm Caribbean seas, and gave the world something we still use today, the hammock. Jamaica sits in the heart of the Greater Antilles, south of Cuba, and west of Hispaniola. In 1494, Christopher Columbus arrived under the Spanish flag. He found no gold, so instead, he took people. Disease, violence, and forced labor wiped out the Taíno within a generation. To replace the dying population, the Spanish began bringing Africans to the island. Many escaped, climbing into the mountains, and building the first Maroon communities. The word Maroon comes from the Spanish cimarron, meaning wild or runaway. French speakers shortened it, and the English adopted the word as maroon. These were not just runaways. They were free people, living on their own terms, high in the hills of Jamaica. In 1655, the English invaded and seized the island. They kept the Taíno name, Jamaica, the land of wood and water. Port Royal soon grew into the busiest and most notorious port in the Caribbean. Pirates, merchants, privateers, all mixed in a city overflowing with gold and rum. But in 1692, the earth had enough. A massive earthquake struck, and 2/3 of Port Royal slipped into the sea in minutes. Through the 1600s and 1700s, sugar became the island's gold. Plantations expanded rapidly. Powered by the brutal labor of enslaved Africans, resistance was constant. Slowdowns, sabotage, poisonings, and always the Maroons, hidden deep in the mountains. They raided plantations, freed the enslaved, and proved that slavery could always be resisted. By the 1720s, the British decided to crush the Maroons. What followed was the First Maroon War in the West. Cudjoe led his warriors with strategy and negotiation. In the East, Queen Nanny struck from the forest, a master of guerrilla warfare and a spiritual leader for over a decade. British redcoats stumbled through mountains they could not understand. In 1739 and 1740, Britain finally sought peace. The Maroons earned land and the right to govern themselves. But the island's spirit of rebellion did not end there. In 1760, a fat warrior from West Africa named Taíno led one of the Caribbean's largest uprisings. He had once been a chief, a trained military leader. He and his followers stormed plantations, seized weapons, and grew into a powerful rebel force. Unable to defeat them, the British called in the Maroons. As required by treaty, Taíno was eventually killed in battle, and his head displayed in Spanish Town as a warning, a cruel tactic the British used throughout their empire. But the rebellion did not truly die. Other fighters continued the struggle. For months, by the 1790s, tension rose again. Accusations against the Maroons sparked the Second World War. Maroons launched ambushes and held their ground for months against more than 5,000 British soldiers. In December 1795, they agreed to surrender under the promise of pardon. The promise was broken. More than 550 Maroons were captured and deported to Nova Scotia, Canada. From tropical mountains to frozen winters, life there was brutal. So in 1800, the British shipped them again, this time to Sierra Leone. In West Africa, other Maroon groups remained in Jamaica and still exist today. In 1831, Baptist Deacon Sam Sharp led a peaceful general strike that grew into Jamaica's largest rebellion. More than 60,000 people joined the movement. The British crushed it violently, but the uprising pushed Parliament toward ending slavery in 1834, with full freedom arriving in 1838. Freedom, however, did not mean equality. Low wages, land shortages, hurricanes, and injustice pushed the island into turmoil again. In 1865, preacher Paul Bogle and politician George William Gordon sparked the Moreton Bay Rebellion. Villagers marched to the courthouse, demanding fairness and land. When shots were fired at the crowd, the rebellion erupted. The British executed hundreds, including Bogle and Gordon, but their sacrifice exposed the deep failures of colonial rule. In the early 1900s, a new voice rose from Jamaica, Marcus Garvey. He preached black pride, unity, and economic independence. His movement stretched from Kingston to Harlem and across the African diaspora. By the 1930s, labor strikes shook the island again. New leaders emerged, Alexander Bustamante and Norman Manley. They built unions, formed political parties, and pushed the British toward a new future. Finally, on August 6, 1962, Jamaica became an independent nation. From Queen Nanny's mountains to Sam Sharpe's courage, from Paul Bogle's march to the fire of Garvey's speeches, Jamaica's history is a story of struggle, survival, and triumph. A reminder that freedom, once taken, can be won back again through unity and unbreakable spirit.